Hello, I'm John Hollingsworth, President of DataWorks Educational Research. We are the company that developed the online lessons at Educeri.com. Let's take a look at the Educeri site right away. When you first go to Educeri.com, you'll come onto a page like this. So you come up and create an account. When you create an account, you'll come up to a page like this, where you enter your name and your email and a password and create an account. You can create a free account, you can sign up for an actual account, but most schools create an enterprise account where they have one account for the entire school. Now let me just tell you a little bit about the history of DataWorks. So we actually started DataWorks about 20 years ago in 1997. DataWorks was formed by my wife, Dr. Sylvia Barr, and me to actually help learning for students and help student achievement. We've actually observed thousands of teachers and done a lot of research. In fact, we've looked at 2 million student assignments also. One thing we did over the last couple of years is we've written some books. We wrote a book called Explicit Direct Instruction. And there's several versions of it out. There's the yellow one, which was the first one we ever did, which is right here. And then we wrote one was translated into French, another one into Dutch. We wrote one for English learners, and we wrote a new one that came out just a year, Explicit Direct Instruction, 2nd edition. This instructional model was actually used to design the Educeri website. We used those practices, all the lessons match those practices that we describe in the book. And they've been bestsellers for several years. Now, let me tell you a couple of other interesting things about DataWorks. We've probably trained over 35,000 teachers over the years. We wrote a complete literacy program that's being used in Australia. It was funded by a grant from the Department of Education in Australia. One thing we do a lot in our DataWorks lessons and our EDI, Explicit Direct Instruction lessons, is we use whiteboards. We have kids hold up whiteboards and show their answers to the teachers. It's very effective because you can look around and see all the students at once. I told you our book was also translated in Dutch. So there I am training some teachers from the Netherlands. And now another place we went to with explicit direct instruction last year was China. Here's Professor Bao in China holding up our book describing explicit direct instruction for English learners. Then we went to China and actually trained hundreds and hundreds of teachers. Here you can see Sylvia and me up on the podium there. And you'll see this poster in the background is actually one of the strategies we use, the pronunciation, track with me and read with me. In the last couple of weeks, we've been doing seminars in the Philippines. Here's a picture right there. You can see the audience with the teachers in it. There's Grace who works with us in the Philippines. Now let's talk about Educeri. Educeri is online lessons that play over the internet. And the teachers can get all the lessons for every grade level. We have kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. But you as a teacher don't get restricted to your grade level. You get access to all 1,200 lessons. That was one of our big design ideas. You might need to help students a little bit below grade level or to help students accelerate students or provide extra activities for students above grade level. So I want to make sure you can access all the lessons. These lessons play actually as slideshows. So they come up and you click like PowerPoint. If you've ever used PowerPoint before, you advance through and the slides come through. And there's an example right there of an example of a slide that could show on the screen. We also have handouts. This handout matches what we've got on the screen. So the students have a paper copy to work with. Explicit direct instruction does have a design, and it has standard components of instruction from a learning objective all the way down to closure. But I think now we should actually look at Educeri, and let's look at some of the online lessons.
This is the Educeri lesson gallery screen. You can see that there's 1,296 lessons. You can select the grade level you want up here on the drop-downs. Let's select 3rd grade, English Language Arts. There's 82 lessons for language arts for 3rd grade. Here's a few of them. Determine the main idea. Use reciprocal pronouns. Use abstract nouns. Let's look at this lesson on regular and irregular verbs. We come up with a landing page for the lesson, and we can click Teach the Lesson. To maneuver through the Educeri lessons, you can use the forwards and backwards buttons right here. So I can go forward, and you'll notice the screen comes up, and the answers pop in. Here is concept development. We have definitions and examples, and checking for understanding questions. As you click, the answer will pop in on the screen. Now we have skill development and guided practice. These are usually set up rule of two style. That means the teacher works one and the students work one. Teachers work one and students work one. Usually we have the students write their answers on whiteboards and then hold them up for the teacher to check that the students have the proper answers. Another important feature of the Educeri lessons is the marking pens right here. So I'm going to click that, and I have a pen, and now I can use that with my mouse to identify things on the screen while I'm teaching. I can use the highlighter and highlight areas on the screen to cue the students where to look. I can also erase, and now they're gone. Oh, we're still in the highlighter mode, so I'm going to go back in here and say End Drawing. Go back to page number 1, the cover page, and there I am. This button is to go to full screen and eliminate the browser tabs above. And this one down here will return you to the tabs. When you're done, you can use the back arrow to return to the description page, and one more back arrow to return to the lesson gallery.
Besides the general layout of the lesson, the learning objective, activate prior knowledge, concept development, skill development, guided practice, relevance, and closure, we also have a lot of strategies for teaching. And these are the strategies we actually use while we deliver the lesson. If you look at the first one up on here, it says, pronounce with me. Students have a lot of problems saying new words. So you know you're going to pronounce difficult words for the students ahead of time and practice and have them say the words. Track with me and read with me. A lot of students have problems reading. In the United States, we're trying to support better reading fluency for all the students that we work with at DataWorks. And track reading means you read the sentence first while the students look at the words, and then you read chorally afterwards. The pre-reading really helps, because if you read the words first, then the kids can read the words, even if they're not perfect readers, but they're looking at the words while you read it, and then they read it right after. We have some other strategies. Gestures. We use gestures to want to convey some meaning with a gesture to help kids remember. Pair share is a very important one. The students talk to each other and explain their answers to each other. So with pair shares, every student actually practices their answer. And then you call a non-volunteer, one of our strategies, call non-volunteers. If you call students who raise their hand, there's maybe only a few students who know. You have to call non-volunteers and then be ready to provide feedback or reteach if the students can't answer. So why don't we do this? Let's look at a video right now, and I'll play you a few minutes of a video, and just look at some of the practices. We'll have this poster up there during the video, and we'll show on the poster as they occur. So let's take a look here.
Let's look at how we can engage English learners. You'll see a lot of listening and speaking and reading. We'll even highlight it on the screen so you can see it as it happens.
Track while I read this for you first. Everyone can either point on their paper up here. A verb and when I say past tense, this is our gesture. Past tense, everyone do this, because it happens in the past. I'll explain it a little bit better. A verb in the past tense shows an action that has already happened. Now let's read that together. A verb in the past tense shows an action that has already happened. Past tense. Everybody, gesture with me. That's how we know. That's the past tense. Track with me while I read this first. To use the past tense verb in a sentence correctly, identify clue words. So now let's read this together.
To use the past tense verb in a sentence correctly, identify clue words.
Okay, let's read. Some of the clue words in a sentence will tell us it's in the, everyone, past tense. Here's some clue words. Read them with me. Before. yesterday, last, earlier, in the past. Let me show you what that looks like. Everyone can read this sentence with me. Jill jumped in the pool last night. Well, she did this last night. Ready? Last night, so it's in the past tense.
So you can see now, we put all these strategies actually in our lessons. So pronounce with me, track with me, read with me. You saw a lot of gestures in there. So I would like to thank you for watching our little presentation. And if you want to get started on Educeri, the easiest way is just to go to Educeri.com and click in there and sign up with a trial account and try out your trial account. Now, administrators working with schools, you can set up an enterprise account, or you can actually just contact us here at DataWorks, and we can actually set up the enterprise account for you. And you can get a free 30-day trial. Okay, I'd like to thank you. Good night. And remember, Educeri.com. Thanks a lot.